Welcome back, All Sports West New York. My guest, Jeremy White from WGR 550. And Jeremy, we just talked about the Bills in the NFL. Now we're going to switch gears to the NHL and the NHL Draft, as opposed to the NFL Draft, where those players in this day and age often have an immediate impact. These young men that are going to be drafted into the NHL, oftentimes you're not going to see any significant contribution for at least 3-4 years down the road, barring that rare exception, number one, number two. So how do you get excited breaking down all these players knowing that certainly not going to be somebody you're going to see in a uniform next year?
Well, because maybe it is. The Sabres are picking number 2. Last year, out of the top 10 picks, number 1 is Nathan MacKinnon. He's had 7 points in his first 2 playoff games with Colorado, led them to a 2-game-to-none lead. Number 2 is Alex Barkov, who played well for Florida, got hurt in the Olympics and didn't come back. Jonathan Drouin stayed in juniors. Seth Jones, number 4, played in the NHL. Number 5 was Elias Lindholm. He played. Bottom line is, it was a strong draft. This year, it's not expected that many guys will contribute. But Aaron Ekblad's the top defenseman. He might go to Florida. He might go to the Sabres. People expect him in the NHL. Then again, the Sabres are on a different timeline. The Sabres probably want to pick at the top of the draft next year, too. So that if they draft anybody at number 2 and maybe number 5, if they get the Islanders pick, they'll more than likely keep them in juniors to kind of just stow them there, continue their individual development, and call them up later. I get excited because all you have to do to get excited is look at the last 20 years of number 1 and number 2 picks. And the odds that you get a great player are about 90%. So I get excited just on the odds that they'll probably get a great player.
How much do you think it hurt the Sabres not getting the number 1 pick in the lottery?
Not that much. Last year it would have been, I'm not even sure last year it would have been a big deal. The whole idea for me, and I've been wanting the Sabres to kind of be in this mode for about 3 years now, be the worst team because you're guaranteed the number 2 pick, and they've got the number 2 pick. Had they won it, would have been great. We would know who Tim Murray thought was the best player in the draft. This way we don't really get to know who he thinks the best is, just who the best plan B might be. He might get the guy he wants the most. The only advantage I really think about number 1 in a draft like this year is that you really know your GM has plan A. If Tim Murray's plan A was Aaron Ekblad, maybe Florida takes him and Murray's kind of got to not scramble. I mean, they'll know what they're going to do, but the only really advantage would be getting to know Murray a little bit better and whether or not he wanted the defenseman or the best forward on the board.
Tim Murray is night and day from Darcy Regier. Tim Murray tells you exactly what he's thinking for the most part. You know who he likes and who he doesn't like. He even gives you hints about who he likes on the team and doesn't like. Much different than what, not just Darcy's style, but most general managers' style.
Yeah, and he's been very open about the players that are available for in this draft. If they're going with one of the Sams, Sam Bennett is a warrior. He plays with an edge. He's got great feet, great hands, elite skill, 100% effort all the time. And that's a lot of what you get at the top of the draft are really skilled players that never quit. That's the other thing about the top. Sam Reinhart is the other Sam. He's the really smart, intuitive, a lot of great instincts. Hockey IQ is off the charts, and Murray raves about how every time he's seen him play, he's the smartest guy on the ice. So I just gave you 2 scouting reports that sound fantastic, and the Sabres are guaranteed one of those 2.
Right. So
that's one of the ways to get excited. With Murray talking about his own team, the draft will be only part of the offseason. The rest is Ennis, Hodgson, Myers, Ehrhoff. Are these players going to be moved? Are they going to be staying around? Maybe Christian Ehrhoff is on the trade block, not because he's not good, but because you could get a serious haul for Christian Ehrhoff. And it's on Tim Murray to really explore that. He's in a spot, to be very honest, because he's in the best spot that a GM could ever be in. Fans aren't going to be that mad if you don't win right away because they see where you're coming from. You have some pieces that are worth quite a bit, and you have a ton of draft picks, and they're high draft picks. So he's got to just be loving life, and other GMs of bad teams, I would think, would be very jealous.
Okay, we've got the Sabres signed Ted Nolan. They signed him to a 3-year deal. There wasn't much of a mystery the last month or so. It looked like it was going to get done. Let's put this up. I wrote this on All Sports West New York the other day. There's a picture of myself and Ted Nolan from 18 years ago when I used to host the Ted Nolan show. Now, Jeremy, you got to admit, Ted doesn't look much different than he does today. Me, on the other hand, that's not me. I don't know who that is with the mustache and dark hair, but obviously it's not me. So Ted's on board. Now, when Pat LaFontaine left the team, I was driving back the next morning from Albany, and I was able to get your station actually east of Syracuse. So there should be an FCC investigation because I don't think you go that far. But I was able to pick you and Bulldog up. You guys came in early Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. The sense I got from listening to you guys is you didn't think that it was necessarily going to hurt the team that much to lose Pat.
Yeah.
Tim Murray you thought was the key. But Pat brought in Murray and he brought in Ted. You think there will be any long-lasting effects to Pat leaving this organization?
I think having him here could help, but I don't think not having him here hurts. Tim Murray's the guy that makes the personnel decisions. Terry Pegula signs the paychecks. Ted Nolan coaches the team. You know, there seemed to be an idea that LaFontaine could help get you free agents or get you in the door with guys, which might be true. You know, Ryan Callahan is a good example. An American hockey player maybe might look up to Pat LaFontaine. But if Callahan's going to come here, it's not going to be because somebody talked him into it. He might have been a guy to kind of, I don't know, get you in the door a little bit better. But ultimately what's going to bring great players and great hockey here to Buffalo is a winning team. Great players want to play with great players. We see it all the time with no trade clauses. Where do you want to go? Well, it's not the best cities necessarily. I mean, Detroit's not the best city, but they've got the best players and the best program. So once the Sabres build a program like that, I don't think it matters too much who's in the front office. Players will want to go to that to try to win at all costs.
So we're all out of time. Sal. Jeremy, we're all out of time. During the commercial, I was joking that Sal...
Is he in for me next week here?
Sal could be in for you because Sal's done every air shift on GR. But thanks for being on. And we were talking also during the break. Howard Simon's son has signed to go to Michigan State.
Yeah, letter of intent.
Sign.
Letter of intent.
So Howard's got to come up with the big bucks. So Howard might be working overtime.
I think Howard. I'll see Howard 5 days a week, as I always do. I think he will wear Michigan State gear 5 days a week. He's very excited.
Well, he should. With the money he's going to have to spend to go there. Although I would imagine his son's probably a bright young man. He's probably got a nice scholarship to go there. Takes after his mom. So, you know.
Windbreakers and sweatpants from Michigan State all the time for Howard.
Jeremy, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
If you want to know anything about the draft, listen to Jeremy every morning, Monday through Friday on GR 550. He's talking both NHL and NFL. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this.